Hey everyone, Katie Sergeant Steele here, and today we're going to talk about the Death Korps of Krieg. Talk about everyone's favorite infantry unit, unless you're me, and that is the Death Korps of Krieg. So, for the models, let's talk about these real quick because it's really exciting. This is a brand new plastic kit. It came out with Kill Team, the launch of the last kind of edition of Kill Team, along with the Sneaky Orcs. And they called these the Veteran Guardsmen. So these are your Death Korps of Krieg models currently for your infantry kit. So if you're looking where to find those, that's what you're looking for this model kit. It's a brand new plastic kit, and it's got just beautiful sculpts in it. There's some critique as to like some of the crispness of the details and the way the coats look and the way the epaulets or kind of other details of the trench coat and so forth and the gas mask appear as compared to the old resin models that were produced by Forge World. But if you happen to be a fan of those resin models, you want to work with them instead, most of them are still available and you can still buy them now. You could actually build an entire army of nothing but Krieg models if you wanted to, unlike the other regiments, which have mostly been done away with. So Katachin are still dealing with some really old kits, but the old Krieg kits are beautiful sculpts. So if you're not wanting to do Cadians and you want to do another regiment, there is a lot of model support for the Kriegs currently. About these models in this beautiful new kit, let's actually talk about the unit. We'll start out with the unit profile. It's movement 6, toughness 3, 5 up save, 1 wound, leadership 7, 2 OC. Same as any other battle line Astra Militarum infantry unit. Cool. When it comes to Wargear, let's talk about that real quick. They have access to all of the basic small arms special weapons. So we're talking flamer, plasma gun, melt-a-gun, grenade launcher, and something that makes them special is the sniper rifle. So they actually get access to this where like the Cadians do not. Now, the only caveat to that is that the plasma gun, which I do not have one model in the plastic kit here, but if you want to take the plasma gun, you have to actually trade out the Voxcaster instead. So you got to decide that. Most people choose to go with the plasma gun. I like having the backup of potentially getting one of my command points back if I needed it with the Voxcaster, so I go with Voxcaster instead. But I will be buying another box of these models and building one of the plasma guns. I mean, why not? Maybe even several more of these plastic kits, because it really was a fun kit to work with. So you pick up to 2 special weapons for every 10 models, plus you could swap out your Voxcaster for a plasma gun instead, giving you an option for a 3rd special weapon. The 20-man unit, you could start to double up on some of those. So you could have 2 Meltas, 2 Flamers, 2 Plasma, 2 Sniper Rifles, and so forth. So that gives you a lot of options for building out your special weapons, which is really nice to be able to do that. Your plasma gun's the only one that you got to decide about whether or not you want the Voxcaster or the plasma gun. And the plasma gun is how you get your 3rd one. So you could take 2 special weapons of the Melta Flamer, grenade launcher, sniper rifle, and then if you want a 3rd one, it has to be plasma, but it replaces Voxcaster. Some of the options from the Kill Team box are not available. And one of those is like, I've actually built it here, the guy with the landmine kit. So the guy with the explosives. So this is actually doesn't do anything, but luckily he's got a las gun. So I just run him like a regular Kriegsman with a las gun is how I'm running him. One of the things you can take though, and I actually don't have modeled, but you could do, and that is a medic. So if you were to take the medic, that actually opens up a Wargear ability, which is really cool. So that is one of the Kill Team options that you can bring in. So just keep that in mind. Everything else I've done is for rule of cool. Honestly, I thought these poses looked really awesome. I wanted to try them out, and so I built it that way and painted them that way. And that's why I have here. It's nothing about min-maxing. For your leader, for your sergeant, you can take a number of different weapon options, including you could take a bolt pistol, a bolt gun, your plasma pistol, or you could take your las pistol. You could have a chain sword, and I thought you could take a power weapon. Yeah, you can, or you can replace the chainsword with a power weapon. So you have several different options for the sergeant, which is really nice. I did plasma, pistol, and chainsword because I think it's cool. That's why I did it. that's Wargear. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and you could do a lot with this. Basically, in a 20-man blob, you could get up to 5 plasma gun shots in rapid fire range. That's pretty awesome. You get a couple melta guns, or a couple flamers, or a couple sniper rifles. So it's a pretty versatile unit in terms of how you can build it out. But now, let's get to the nuts and bolts. What actually makes this unit special? What is its abilities? Why does everyone love the Krieg? Why is Krieg so awesome? Oh, here's why. So, it's going to be a combination of both regular abilities and Wargear abilities. Let's talk about Grim Demeanor. That's her unit ability. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll if this unit is below its starting strength. Okay, so you lose a model, 1 guy goes down, right? They're now +1 to hit with their weapons. So that's going to give them a 3 up to hit. Now, if you give them take aim, that means they're going to, because that changes their characteristic. This is a +1 to hit bonus. Take aim changes the characteristics. Now they're hitting on 2s if you give them take aim. Hitting on 2s with plasma, hitting on 2s with melta, hitting on 2s with sniper rifles. That's pretty good, but I'll talk more about that in a moment about why it's a little bit of a give and take. The second half of this ability is if you're below half your starting strength. So, okay, 5 are gone, right? We're at half. So you're down to 4 models, okay? You're below half strength, all right? That means 4 models remaining in a unit of 10 or 9 models remaining in a unit of 20. Now you get +1 to hit and to wound. That could be pretty spicy and that could be pretty cool. I think it's going to be a bit more situational. And the reason being, you just heard me read off their stats. They're regular guard infantry. They're going to die pretty easily. Except, not quite. It's actually one of the most resilient units in the Astra Militarum. So let's talk about their other Wargear abilities that kind of add to this. So first is the Voxcaster. The Voxcaster works like everyone else's Voxcaster. Every time you use a stratagem on the unit, you can add 1 to result if there's a friendly officer within 6 inches. On a roll of 5+, you gain 1 CP. So if you're not using Lord Solar Leontis, you could use your Voxcaster to regen some of your CP, and maybe you've gone to go to ground, right? Give them a cover save and a 6-up invuln. Or maybe you've used like Fields of Fire on them, or some other type of stratagem, and you want to try to get that refund, you can do that here. So that's Voxcaster. Everyone's got it pretty much. But then the next is, like I said, the one thing I actually don't have modeled, which is the Metapack. If you have the Metapack, this works different. Please be aware this works different than the way Metapacks work on command squads. This is not the same. What this does is at the start of your command phase, if the Bears unit is below its starting strength, you can return up to D3 destroyed models to the Death Korps of Krieg Trooper unit. Wow. Okay. So if you're below your starting strength, you get bonuses to hit, maybe bonuses to wound. You also get to bring models back to life every turn. Now that medikit doesn't take away from your special weapons. It goes on somebody with a las gun. So you can still have your 2 special weapons plus plasma or Voxcaster and a medic. That gives you a lot of resiliency right out the gate. Okay, let's bring in the next thing. Let's talk about this real quick. And this is our platoon command squad. So Death Korps Krieg don't have officially in the rules their own command squad, at least not that I quickly saw in the Forge World index cards. So what we have is I've painted up actually some of their old resin models here. I'm not even sure if you can buy this kit anymore, but this was a command squad kit they had. I love the little banner bear and so forth. But what you can do here is it's like every other, it's a platoon command squad. That's all this is. So its special ability is that even if the unit is a unit within 6 inches of this platoon commander, you can target that unit with a stratagem even though it's battle shocked. It's called command structure aura. So if you attach a command squad to it, that means you could use stratagems on them even though they're battle shocked. Or if you just have one within 6 inches, right, nearby, then you could target them with a stratagem. And that's really awesome as long as they have the platoon keyword and they're within 6 inches of the platoon commander, which is this model here. So great thing to keep note about. And then, of course, you can get a medic in this unit. You can get the banner bearer for +1 OC. You can get a couple special weapons, so on and so forth. Platoon command squads are really awesome. I would argue maybe not as good as the Cadian command squad, but Cadian command squads can only work with Cadians, so this is what you have for everybody else. With the medic here, you could get your unit a 6-up Feel No Pain. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? 6-up Feel No Pain. Plus, you could resurrect D3 models every command phase. You could start to see where this is adding up. But that's not the key here. So, what you could do is attach what they call a Field Marshal, okay? The Field Marshal is a Forge World model that's a single commander, basically, for the Krieg. And if you attach him to your Krieg, if he's leading a unit, that unit gets a 5-up Feel No Pain. So, Platoon Command Squad will give you a 6-up, but instead of Platoon Command Squad, you do a Field Marshal, you get a 5-up Feel No Pain. That's really good. You're going to ignore 1 out of 3 wounds dealt to this unit. You're also still going to get buffs for being below your starting strength. You are also still going to be able to resurrect models. If you take Krieg and you take a Field Marshal, it's one of the most resilient builds in the Astra Militarum. There's nothing better that sticks around, to be quite honest. Forgot to mention real quick about the Field Marshal and his other special ability. That is Cult of Sacrifice. So what that does is once per battle, so do note that once per battle, you can target this model's unit with the Insane Bravery stratagem for 0 command points. And that's even if you've already used Insane Bravery on another unit that turn. So you could use it twice in a turn and once on the unit that the Field Marshal is attached to for free. So that's really great in your command phase, and you're really whittled down. You want to hold that objective so you don't have your Platoon Command Squad, right? For the banner for +1 to keep you having OC. So you're at risk of being OC 0. You could use Insane Bravery once per game for free. Once again, guaranteed 5 victory points. Guaranteed way to score points with this unit, and that's also what makes the Field Marshal so special and such a great synergy for your Death Korps of Krieg infantry. That's really what makes Krieg special, is their resiliency and what they can do. Now, there's another combo here, though, that makes them even more resilient and more nasty. And honestly, I don't like even fighting it myself as an Astra Militarum player. So what is it, Cadian Sergeant Steel? What's the ultimate resiliency combo? Okay, I don't have 20, but let's pretend I have 20 Kriegsmen. Okay, let's pretend I got 20 guys in this unit. And I attach a Field Marshal. So they get a 5-up Feel No Pain, they get to resurrect. Now, you can't double up on the medic kits, okay? So if I have 20-man unit, and I have 2 medics, I still could only resurrect D3 models per turn. Not 2 D3, just D3. I can only use that Wargear ability once, okay? In mind, you can't, no double dipping on that. Resurrecting D3 models per turn, you have a 6-up Feel No Pain. Then you add in the Primaris Psyker. This is where it gets super spicy. So I'm not going to go over everything, but let's just talk about what makes this unit awesome. If you attach the Psyker to a unit, it has an ability that you can use at the start of your opponent's shooting phase. You roll a d6. So on 1, you suffer d3 mortal wounds. And that's to the unit. So that could be to your benefit, by the way, because if you're at full strength and you take d3 mortal wounds, you get a 5-up Feel No Pain, you lose a model, and now you're shooting better. Okay, there's synergy here with failing your psychic test. Okay, so you don't roll the 1, and you do pass. Then on a 2-up, models in the Psyker's unit have a 4-up invulnerable save. Okay, so you get a Primaris Psyker, giving the unit it's attached to, for the rest of the shooting phase, not fight phase, shooting phase, 4-up invulnerable save. And they have a 5-up Feel No Pain. And they're going to resurrect D3 models in their next command phase if they don't die. This unit sticks around. It is hard to shake a Death Korps Krieg squad that is buffed this way. Even a 10-man unit right here. I have gone up against this in games. I had an opponent who brought, I think, 5 or 6 squads of Death Korps Krieg, and they had 3 squads just like this: Field Marshal and Primary Psyker. It's a lot of points to sink in characters. Even though the Field Marshal's pretty cheap right now, but you add in the Primary Psyker, they cost a decent chunk, plus the cost of your squad. These 2 characters are more than the cost of 10 Kriegsmen. Okay? So that's a lot of buffing. But once you add that together, this unit just doesn't want to die. It really doesn't. You have to have substantial anti-infantry shooting to shake this unit off the table. So that's what you do with Krieg. What you do is you set them somewhere that they're going to get shot, and you want them to sort of be able to survive at least 2 turns of shooting, if not more. So if you're strong tactically and you're positioned well at the beginning of the game, and you can take out your opponent's anti-infantry units, this is going to be nearly impossible to take off an objective. Now, with this build here, you're rolling OC2. That's still pretty good. Right now, what you're looking at with a 10-man squad, plus these 2 characters, is you're looking at an OC of potentially 22. If we had a 20-man squad, that would be 42. OC 42, if you could get all that within range of an objective marker, is going to be hard to shift. So that's nothing to, scoff at. That is something you're going to want to take seriously. And it's something you're going to have to dedicate time and energy to taking off the objective. So this unit can hold very well. It can stick around super well, and that's what they're here to do. Then, even if they die, okay, guess what? You can use the reinforcement stratagem and bring them back. For 2 command points, you could just bring 10 or 20 Kriegsmen back to life, back on the battlefield. Almost. Now, they lose these 2 characters, but they're still pretty resilient, right? You still have the bringing back D3 models every single turn. You just lose your Feel No Pains, you lose your Invuln save. But that's okay. That's still a good buff to have. It's still something you can do, even if your Primary Psyker and your Field Marshal have gone to the wayside because they've been destroyed. That makes Krieg, and that's what makes them special. So how would I run them? Well, and to be honest, I haven't run them yet. I really haven't done it. But if I wanted to, and I will eventually, what I would do is probably attach a Field Marshal with them. Maybe a platoon command squad. I'm still debating on that. There's a lot of benefits to having that command squad. It's not much more points than the Marshal themselves. Marshal gives them 5-up Feel No Pain, though. That's kind of hard to pass up on. But squad, you get a 6-up Feel No Pain and +1 OC. And with that, that means you could have a substantial amount of OC. The same OC I talked about in my Cadian video, right? We're talking about something that no other unit in the game is going to be able to shake you if you're at full strength or close to full strength. It's just not going to be able to happen. 10-man Intercessor squad comes up to you. It's not going to matter. You can still put a Primary Psyker with them to give them a 4-up Invuln save with the platoon command squad. So either way, I'd run them either option, platoon command squad or a Field Marshal with your Primary Psyker. And then I would probably run 10-mans are actually effective. It'd be a great way to stick these on an objective and make your opponent come try to root you out. If you want to run to the middle of the table, and I'm telling you this is a viable option right now, unless you're playing against World Eaters. Viable option, 20-man Krieg, Field Marshal, Primary Psyker, just run in the middle of the table, get on that center objective, and sit there. Go to ground, give them the take cover order, which remember, take cover changes their save characteristic. So they go from a 5-up to a 4-up, and then you give them go to ground. So now they have a cover save if they didn't already. So now they're at a 3-up save with a 4-up invuln potentially during the shooting phase. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's hard to get rid of. That is, I've done it. I've done it with Cadians, and they were hard to shake. I watched my opponents dump the greatest of anti-infantry units into my squad, and I laughed as 1 or 2 models survived, and I still held the objective. Didn't matter. Scored me. That was right there. 10 primary victory points out of the maximum 50 if you're playing competitively, right? Right there, because I can survive that unit and hold that objective. That's what you want to do. That's what this squad does. And Krieg do it better than all the other Astra Militarum. So that's the tactics I would run with them. I wouldn't be shy with them. You can take a 10-man unit, tuck them in somewhere, and that's pretty effective too. So don't count that out. Just put them behind a building, put them in the back corner, have them hold that backfield objective, and they're going to be able to do it effectively because they're still going to be hard to shift. So you're really going to force your opponent to have movement and to dedicate a lot of energy to try to take them out. And hopefully you got something like Rogodorns or Medusas or something taking out your opponent's anti-infantry to also keep them in the game. That's always my first recommendation to you, is if your opponent's running heavy anti-infantry, you got to take it out. You got to take it out, because with guard, that's how we're going to score, right? You only have so much CP to do reinforcements, and you don't want to let your opponent to be able to efficiently clear your infantry. You want to make them struggle to do it. And the Krieg are going to make them struggle more. So that's the tactics. That's the way you run this unit. With them, put the special weapons in there. Give them meltas. Give them plasmas if you want. Flamers are a good option too. But don't forget, there's benefit to just having las guns and doing first ring fire, second ring fire if the opportunity comes up. You will clear hordes of the enemy's infantry as well. They can only make so many 3-up saves and 2-up saves. Just keep that in mind. So just pour the firepower into them, build them any way you want so you can have fun with them. But I do highly recommend the medic. That is the best weapon or Wargear choice that you can make with this unit, even though I didn't do it. But ignore what I did. Build a token instead. I'm going to sit next to the unit and say, this is a medic. That's what I've done. I'm showing it here because I've not fully painted it. So anyhow, that's the unit, that's the summary, that's the tactics, and that's really what I recommend doing with it. So check it out. Definitely give them a go. I would recommend at least having 20 of these. I would recommend getting 20 and putting them into your list and running them around. You can split them up into 2-man, 10-man squads, or you could run them as a single 20-man squad, and maybe it's your center objective unit. I think that's what I'm going to do with them when I play my more competitive games. Is I'm going to run a 20-man brick with a field marshal and a primary psyker, and I'm just charging forward. Going to care what my opponent usually throws at me. Once again, unless it's something like World Eaters, you want to stay back. You want to bait your opponent to you, try to whittle them down the best you can, and then jump out. So maybe use a lot more reserves too. But otherwise, I would run these guys forward. I'd be hyper aggressive, get on that center objective with a 20-man blob, or 10-man units hiding in the backfields or on the side objectives if possible. That's it. That's it for today. That's all I got for you for Krieg. I hope you found this video valuable, and maybe you learned why this unit is so important to the Astra Militarum. So if you have any other things to kind of add to this, or if I got anything wrong, feel free to put it down in the comments below. I'm always happy to get feedback from you all and to hopefully be better in the future when I do these unit reviews. If you haven't seen the other ones, please go check them out. Be very excited for you to let me know what you think of my Sentinel review, my Basilisk review, and obviously my Cadian reviews. Any Cadian units, that's the heart and soul of what I play, but I have fun with some of the other regiments too. So let me know what you think of all those. Don't forget to check out the links in the video description below. You can get discounts on these clear movement trays, and you can also get discounts and also support my channel by buying some of the hobby products I love from Redgrass Games, along with the movement trays and squad marks and so forth, and any other affiliates I may have. So it really means a lot to me. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have any other way I try to generate money. I make this video content because I enjoy doing it, and you all can support me doing that just by getting also other products that help you in your hobby. So check that out as well. Subscribe if you don't, like the video, all those things. I normally don't say this, but I'm bad at it, and I'm going to say it for the first time. So please support my channel, please support what I'm doing, and I really appreciate you all being here. So the most important thing, have fun wargaming, and as always, Cadia stands, even if we're running Krieg.